So I am here with Bob Latino, my adopted big brother, and he is actually the principal at Prelical Solutions Limited, LLC, actually. And he's based in Virginia in the US. So thank you, Bob, for joining us.
Thank you once again for having me.
Oh, yeah. I always love to talk to you, Bob. It's
It's
always a
been about a
pleasure.
decade now, so I'd say we're getting to know you stage.
So you wrote chapter 1, the first chapter of the book, Empowering Women in STEM. And in it, you talked about the application of an effective root cause analysis. Now, I think I love this chapter so much because your daughter actually used it. And she talked about bullying. And she did a root cause on that. And that is something that affects everybody, like from infancy all the way up. So I think it's such an important chapter because there are some things that she talked about in the tree. And just looking at it, when I was doing the editing of the book, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what's going on in the back of the mind. And I'm like, wow, like I am not her age. I didn't figure that out yet.
Well, hopefully you don't have bullying at work, but
Nope, nope. See, that's what works when you're an entrepreneur. No bullying allowed.
we have to get on your sister for that. If
Oh
it was
boy, yeah, I may have to. She's upstairs, so no bullying at this moment. So what do you do? What is your typical day like, Bob?
well, I don't think we want to go there.
Oh my gosh.
I
We not have enough time for that one.
do as little as possible, but from a standpoint of my career,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just gonna do this at a very high level, is that I grew up through my father's influence and pioneering activities in a field called reliability engineering, which was in the early 70s. So I had reliability in my household. We actually had a PM program in our house.
Oh my gosh.
And I could tell you other stories of how he had reliability design built into our house. So I was a student of reliability, and when I talk about reliability, it's equipment, process, and human. But really, what I learned most in this career is that it does the outcomes in any occupation, the undesirable outcomes. You're going to solve it the same way. It doesn't matter. I work in a hospital, I work in schools, I work in homeland security, I work in steel mills. The way the human being thinks through why things go wrong is just simply dealing with cause and effect relationships, and then having evidence to validate what's true and what's not true, and to get away from the broken parts, continue drilling deeper, and inevitably you're going to find somebody who made a decision that was not appropriate at the time. And we need to get past that because we have a tendency to blame people for making those decisions.
Yes.
And if we are honest with ourselves, we're looking for the intent of the decision as opposed to the outcome of the decision.
Oh.
So when we want to look at why good people on any given day made the decision they did because they didn't intend for that outcome to happen. So what made them believe that it was true? Now, if you take those principles and you apply them to anybody's business, it doesn't matter where you work. All of the principles apply the same. So when you were discussing the STEM with me, and I was thinking, I was trying to do this with my daughter, and that experiment we did she was in 5th grade. I don't know how old 5th graders are. I'm guessing 10 to 12 or something in there. And I was just curious because kids come to you with a clean slate. And unfortunately, in my world, I'm already dealing with adults that are, they've been in the business 10, 20, 30 years, and they're less likely to change. They come in with their hard, fast ideas, and I see bad things happen. when people are fixated on, that what they're doing is right, and then they're not open to being challenged.
Yep.
But when you go to kids, they're an open slate, and she, I just gave her the principles of understanding logic, and I gave her our ProAct software tool, which is relatively easy, quick learning. And granted, all of her evidence was going to be Google searches, but I told her to pick which topic would, because I don't really know what kids, what bothers kids in school. And, she came up with bullying. And I thought that was, that was a kind of an epiphany to me. I said, I would have never guessed that answer from her. And she went ahead and did that particular analysis. And, it got into, in order to have a bullying situation, you need a bully. You need someone being bullied, and you need an environment to be bullied in. So she explored all of those, and a lot of the issues with the bully themselves, or it's the way that they're treated at home, and she came up with all these conditions of the the other ones was the kids that were being bullied were scared, they're self-intimidated, they're low self-esteem, they're scared if they report to anybody that they're just going to make it worse, so they just retreat. And then the environment is, in a school, are your reporting mechanisms working, or are they falling into cracks? Are you disciplining with the parents, and others just don't know it because of confidentiality kind of things? That's not an extremely exhaustive analysis like engineers would do, but it was quite insightful for a fifth grader.
It was. And I think that's very important that she explored that option so early on in life. And I'm sure she applies logic today.
Did I ever send you, because it made a news feed? She was on the
you told me that.
Did I send you the clip?
No, but you will. I know you will.
I will send you that clip. It's only like so many minutes, but it gets to the highlights of that. And then then when she got to high school, the local, they call them technical centers for the specialty schools. It's the engineering program, and then I would go do some. Help a teacher out every once in a while to, do some co-teaching. And she, I realized when I went in the classroom, she's the only girl in the class.
Oh boy.
There might be 20 students in there, and which didn't bother her because she's kind of full-blooded, but she can hold her own.
Yes, definitely. I know she can.
That's when I started realizing to say, why are girls and women so underrepresented in these types of fields, where it's not a industrial age environment anymore, where it's brawn versus brains. It's if anything now it's brains versus brawn. So that was really kind of the pathway that got me, and your influence, and Shadrach and Charlie Matthews, and highlighting that we ought to be having more representation and providing more opportunities for young ladies and women.
Oh yeah, and I think what really helps a lot is that we have male allies who help and support, just like you, Bob. I know with everything that we do, because we cannot do this alone. Like, the only way we could get this done is with everybody working together, and that's my firm belief.
That was our STEM collaboration, right?
Yes.
On the lubrication degradation mechanism book.
It was.
I think you were the technical subject matter expert on that. All I did was put a bunch of blocks and lines together. So it was like a Reese's cup. I got to put the peanut butter in the cup.
It was. I am totally the chocolate in that Reese's cup. Totally the chocolate.
It explains my frame here too. The sweets that I eat.
So tell us, why did you write the chapter? What was your inspiration to write that chapter in particular?
Because I think from a worldview is that I don't think I take for granted a lot of things that I write and that I do, that everybody else understands it. But that concept of cause and effect relationships and understanding, because if we're proactive, when we make a decision, an informed decision, we will understand the intentional and potential unintentional consequences of those actions ahead of time. There's no reason for us to, root cause analysis, long story and getting into it, but I mean, most of the time we do it on bad things that happen, and it's too late. It's already happened. So we're doing it in hindsight. But had we known what we did in hindsight, about the making that decision, maybe the procedure I was using was obsolete. Maybe the way that they were giving me on-the-job training was not that good, and I believed I was doing the right thing. Maybe the parts that we're buying are cheaper, but they're not like-for-like parts. Maybe if my boss would have told me I was aligning improperly, I would know it. After the fact. So, that balance of management oversight. So, I write the chapter, male or female, for people to understand the consequences of their decisions. And that when you get into situations, especially in critical kind of stuff, you're oftentimes your second brain, when you talk about first brain, second brain, conscious and subconscious, the majority of our decisions are already made for us, because we do it so often, it becomes second nature.
It does.
And then all you need to throw into that mix is one thing different that day, and it causes a bad thing to happen. So I wrote the chapter to highlight awareness to the understanding of cause and effect relationships, the use of sound evidence to back up what you say, and not let assumption fly as fact, which we often do. I thought this, or I thought that, it just simply wasn't true. So, from that standpoint, and I don't care where you work, the same thought processes, the same type of analysis is going to apply wherever you work under those principles.
Oh yeah, it is going to, definitely. And what would you say to other people, men or women, to get them involved or to inspire them to join any field in STEM? What would be your advice to them?
I think that we're in this particular era is that, everything is about technology and analytics. So, as you're going in, that's where the jobs are going to be. The analytics of anything, whether it's going to be proactive or reactive. Certainly, we would rather be proactive than have to react. So, in dealing with predictive and preventive analytics, I think that there's a huge opportunity there in no matter really what profession that you're working in. But data is where it's at, and I think that this type of work, from a data standpoint, requires that for validation. When you come up with hypotheses, you have to be able to prove or disprove them.
It has to be able to stand up in court. Yeah.
I mean, you can't just say, Harry told me so. That's just unfortunately when Harry told me so, things like that happen. Unfortunately, people die in those circumstances.
Yeah.
They believe something that wasn't true. And I think that a lot of times we just got to get away from that blame mentality and start to understand that when people go to work each day, everybody, no matter where they work, wants to come home safe at the end of the day. So if these folks understood being able to identify hazards in their workplaces and things like that, and if you see a broom handle laying on the floor, you don't just walk over it. Pick it up because you recognize it as a threat or a risk. So it just becomes a proactive mentality, and that's for me in my world. That's what reliability is. It's about looking out for tomorrow, and not maintenance is more a today activity, and reliability is about looking out for tomorrow. So reliability is the proactive side.
I love that. I love that analogy.
Well, you know my saying that I always end everything with is we never seem to have the time and budget to do things right, but we always have the time and budget to do it again. And
Yep, after
again,
it goes wrong.
I don't care where you work, that always applies.
Yeah, always, always. Thank you, Bob, so much for writing the chapter, having that influence on your daughter and, helping her to carry through at everything she's doing right now, because I know she's doing amazing things. And thank you for being such a great ally.
Same here. We've been friends for a long time, and I do feel for my sister. So hopefully, I can stand up to being a good big brother.
You are. You definitely are, Bob. So look out for the book. The book is out in December 2022, and check out the book. Check out Bob's chapter. I'm sure you're going to learn a thing or two about logic.
Failure is my business. All right.
Oh, boy. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonia.